You ever just attend a wedding for one of the closest slash oldest friends you've ever had? Because that just happened to me over this past weekend. Known this guy for 25 years now, and that is so crazy to say. A quarter of a century I've known this person. I've known him for over 90% of my life, which is crazy to say. And I'm so happy for the couple, honestly. So congratulations to you two. If you watch my channel, awesome. And if you don't, well, yeah, I guess people will see just how excited and happy I was about it. Anyways, hello everybody. This is That Manga Dude, and welcome to a good old-fashioned FVI. This is the FVI for April of 2024. We have a lot of really good manga for this one. I'm really excited to get into this one, but really quick, if you've never watched an FVI before, an FVI, also known as the first volume impressions, I do these every month, and I tackle all of the newest, not all of them, but I tackle a couple of the newest volume 1s or one-shots that come out in the month, and give a fuller review than I do typically in comparison to my reading logs. So really excited to get into this one. There's a lot of great manga, honestly. I thought last month was like full of bangers, but this month too also has some pretty surprising ones. There's one on here that's gonna be pretty, I think, surprisingly high in my opinion. One that went completely under the radar for me, but really excited to talk about it. So let's get started right now. Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about here is officially released in April of 2024 from Kodansha in English, but has a really interesting story because officially it was originally released in January 2022 in the magazine Shonen Magazine Edge, but was moved to another magazine which is currently publishing in Monthly Shonen Serious, and that is Bless from Yukino Sonoyama. Yeah, let me get some backstory or some information about the people who worked on this specific English release. We have translation from KPS Products Corporation. Letterer is Nicole Roderick. Editor is Tomoko Nagano. Managing editor is Alana Ruse. And production manager is Angela Zurlo. All right. Let us talk about this cover and spine. This is an absolutely gorgeous cover. I love this cover quite a bit. Features the main character, or at least the male lead, on the front here, looking fabulous with some beautiful lighting, some great coloring just across the board. Just a really well done cover. The spine is decent. I mean, like, I wish it was a little bit more interesting, but at least it keeps the consistency with the font for the title, which is nice. And then the font is also mirrored within the creator's name, the mangaka, and also the number 1. And the back cover is just as beautiful, has some really great colors. Love the feather thing that's going on in the background. Looks really good. Yeah, overall, this is a very, very solid cover. Spine's decent, but love the cover, love the back cover, it's great. Now, let's get into our characters. So I'm going to be talking about 2 characters here. I'm going to be talking about the 2 main characters specifically. So first off, we have ourselves Aya Utagawa, who's the guy here in the front. A former model who loves doing makeup and wants to actively pursue makeup as a career, but is kind of pushed away from that. I'm going to talk more about that in the story. Definitely tends to downplay his skills often, and honestly, he suffers from massive imposter syndrome, which is really unfortunate, but I would say extremely relatable, specifically because he is a high schooler, and just knowing, being an artist myself, and being a creator as well, imposter syndrome is such a difficult thing to get over. To realize that your skills are just as are good, and you know you don't need to play a race against anybody else per se. So it's definitely something I totally understand, and it's written really well specifically for him. And I like where his character is kind of developed, specifically in this first volume. It was done really, really well. So really excited to see how he's going to progress as we move throughout the series. Then the other is going to be Jun Sumisaki. So I'm going to have to open this up really quick. So hopefully she shows up pretty quick. Okay, so Jun Sumisaki is this girl here. The one with the freckles. So she's just a girl. She's, I believe, supposed to be the class representative. And yeah, she's just a quiet girl who's been picked. She's been picked on a lot for having freckles, which I think is just so unfair and unfortunate for something you can't change. But I feel like that's high school in general, is that people will get picked on for like the littlest and the worst things ever. But she's always struggled with, I guess, herself, or how she sees herself specifically, and like if she never really finds herself to be beautiful. So Once again, another really relatable thing. I've always had body, not body dysmorphia, but specifically like just body image issues, specifically with my stomach and my weight, because my weight fluctuates quite a bit, but the weight's always in my stomach, but you can't really see it because of just the way I wear clothes and stuff. So both of these characters are super relatable, which I think made this series just hit a little bit closer to home, but definitely love how these characters are written. They are written extremely well. Like I said, there's already a lot of depth in them. Even though this is the first volume, I already feel like I know these characters really well, and we could be pals or friends if they were older. But yeah, love them a lot. Now going into the story. So I mentioned kind of earlier before, but Aya Utagawa has always been dreaming of becoming a professional makeup artist, but has been a model for a bit now because he's just got what you would say is like an ideal male model body, but has always wanted to pursue makeup, and unfortunately just downplays it, kind of just doesn't want to do it for some reason. But he gets chosen as the model for his high school like runway. I don't really know what's going on, but I guess like the specific high school that they go to has these runways every year where they have various people doing various things. So they choose him to be the model, and they choose the girl who I mentioned earlier, Jun Sumisaki, to be the makeup artist. And she says like, oh, I really was only chosen because I'm like the class rep and I could just get it done. It's fine, whatever. But they decide, hey, how about we switch it? Because Aya Utagawa obviously is always into makeup, so he's like, I'll do your makeup for you. And Jun's like, okay, I'll be the model for you. So they both get to express themselves how they've always wanted to, and like this just has like a really like important and connecting moment where Jun finally feels beautiful, and Aya feels like he's able to truly express how he's always wanted to do, which is makeup, and which basically kickstarts their careers in each of those respective industries. So yeah, it's following the story of them as a team, as well as them pursuing their careers individually. So I love this story. Trying not to spoil too much, but man, it's got some just really great moments. I cheered a lot, got mad a lot. Definitely was feeling just a flurry of emotions while reading this, which is not necessarily surprising for manga, but I think specifically for a high school one, I don't typically get super connected as much as I did with this one. So this one was awesome. I just love it a lot. The writing's really good. There's some really good like heartfelt moments, some really good like pretty solid sad, and just some interesting background that we get with a lot of the characters. So love it a lot. I am beyond excited for the next volume. And then going into the art, kind of already flashed it, but the art is so great. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. I think it displays just how awesome and how interesting the makeup industry is. I feel like a lot of people don't truly understand like how deep the makeup industry is, other than like, oh, you know, like a lot of women use it and stuff like that. But I think what's so interesting about makeup specifically is it can be used as like an art form, where you're just creating these beautiful masterpieces of people's faces and bodies, and it's actually really generally really interesting, and I think this displays it really well just across the board. The art's really gorgeous. I love the character designs, and I just love how like everything is put together. It was just, I don't know, this was a very, very strong, complete package, and it took me completely by surprise. I had no idea that I was going to love it as much as I did, but I'm really glad that I did. I would say definitely give this a shot if you're a big fan of Blue Period, and you wanted something a little bit less about fine art and more about like makeup. This is like right up your alley. Not necessarily the same per se, but it's like that style of just really thoughtful and just beautiful and very thought-provoking series about some kind of art form slash whatever you want to call it. Some people might not consider makeup to be an art form, but I happen to. So yeah, love this one a lot. Can't say much more about it. You just kind of have to check it out. Alright, so volume number 2. This one is a really interesting one. Actually, I wasn't super interested in picking this one up, but after like seeing it and just like kind of checking out the cover and stuff, I was like, okay, maybe I'll like this more than I think I do. So this originally released in November of 2014 in Weekly Young magazine, and it is now published by Kodansha. Once again, Kodansha has been killing it this year, just saying. Anyways, that is this Massive Mamajama, The Fable, Volume 1 from Katsuhisa Minami. So this is Omnibus, as the name suggests, and let's talk about the people who worked on it, because there's a lot of them. We have original digital edition translation from Adam Hirsch. We have original digital edition lettering from Arbash Mughal, original digital edition editing from Talia Sutton, print edition lettering from Arbash Mughal, print edition editors Ben Applegate, Julia Murphy, and managing editor Alana Roos, and production manager Claire Kirker. Ooh. All right, let's talk about this spine and cover. So this is very, very, very clearly a nod to various like action movies and stuff, like their posters. I think specifically it's supposed to be Kill Bill. At least Kill Bill is the one that comes to mind immediately when looking at this, with the bright yellow and the black. And I love it. It's absolutely amazing. And I think this cover specifically is a great example of what the hell you're going to get into, because yeah, it is not what I expected, but I'll get into that when we get... I talk more about this later. Anyways, like the spine, I actually like the simplicity, and I think the yellow really helps to pop, as well as on the spine. Looks really great there. And then on the back, we get some of the characters with the coloring. Yeah, I think this is a perfect example of what this series is going to be, which is always really great when it comes to a cover and spine. I feel like a cover and spine, I know people say don't judge a book by its cover, but I do think it's important to make a good first impression, especially like this. So yeah, let's get into our characters. We have two that I'm going to be talking about. So first up, we're going to be talking about Akira Sato, which, spoiler alert, that's not his actual name. Anyways, he's also known as the Fable, as the name suggests. So he is a super strong, super powerful, very intelligent assassin, only about assassin-y things. So, yeah, he's kind of just a really weird, quirky guy, totally into this, like, random comedian, and, like, will always, like, laugh his butt off. Kind of just doesn't care about doesn't really care too much about, like, his appearance, per se, or his appearance to others. He's really much, like, just about enjoying himself and just kind of enjoying life or whatever. Very silly, very weird. I kind of love him. There's something about how like bonkers and just confusing he is as a character that is just really entertaining to watch across the board, because he just loves messing with people too. Like, he's kind of a prankster, and it's just really funny that an assassin is just like a prankster. So yeah, I like him a lot, and I think his character is great for this story. Now, coming on to the back, we have ourselves Yoko Sato, so this is the girl here. This is his alleged sister, who is kind of like I would say, like the brains of the duo. Like, she's like the calm, cool, collected, trying to keep him in line because he's kind of an idiot. And she's great. So she's like the perfect antithesis to him. And they make like the best duo, to be honest, throughout this entire volume. Really excited to see where these two are going to be going with their lives, because yeah, this story is building up to be something strange. So let's get into that story. So, like I said, the Fable. He's busy killing people, doing various things because he's an assassin. But after the first mission that we get in this volume, his boss is like, "All right, we're gonna need you to stop killing for a bit. So we're gonna move you off to some other place in Japan, and you're gonna live lives as brother and sister. AKA, yeah, these two are now brother and sister. And you're not to kill for a year. So you're gonna live with this other, basically this Yakuza family, or Yakuza group, and you're gonna live under their wing for the most part. But yeah, stay low, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, it's about their lives of trying to acclimate to regular life while not trying to be an assassin. And it is so silly. I don't know what I was truly expecting when I was reading through this, but like, this is like, the series is so funny. There's a lot of just great, hilarious moments throughout, like, various parts of this. There's like the hilarious chase scene. That one's like one of my favorites. There's like the part where he gets like beaten up at the bar, which is also really funny. So yeah, a lot of great moments that are perfectly mixed with like the serious moments as well. So like, there's a nice like flow to it. You have like the action and the seriousness, and then the comedy, the action, the seriousness. But the comedy is very much like deadpan humor. So if you don't like that kind of like dumb, purposely dull comedy where you kind of laugh because it's like just so absurd and kind of silly, you're probably not gonna like this. But if you like that kind of stuff, yeah, this is great. This is absolutely lovely. Now, talking about the art, so I'm like not usually the biggest fan of this kind of more realistic art, but I kind of love it in this context, specifically for the facial expressions that are made throughout this entire omnibus. There's a lot of great moments. Like I said, during the chase scene, there's a lot of just hilarious like facial expressions that Akira makes throughout the entire part, and I was like dying laughing from like these hilariously like semi-realistic and obviously kind of cartoonish style. It's great. It's funny. I like it a lot. But you could definitely tell that Katsuhisa Minami has like a true understanding of the human anatomy, because I feel like some of the people who draw these realistic art styles tend to kind of break some of these like characters. It's time to break kind of break human anatomy laws, which sometimes work, but other times does not. So I think it's like respectable that a lot of these characters keep it pretty simple, pretty well built. Like the human anatomy is very much well studied, and it reflects within the characters and how they walk and pose and stuff like that. So yeah, really enjoyed this. Definitely didn't know what I was expecting, but I'm really glad that I did check it out. If you're looking for like an action comedy series, give this a shot. It's pretty great. All right, into volume number 3. So this one's an interesting one. Originally releasing in July of 2022 under Jump Square, we have ourselves Gokurakugai, volume 1 from Utoo Sano. So yeah, this is officially released April 2024 by Viz Media. Now let's get into this cover and spine right after we talk about who worked on this. So translation, David Evelyn. Touch-up art and lettering from Kyla Aiko. Additional touch-up from Giselle Monahan? I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm so sorry. Design from Jimmy Pressler. Consulting editor Megan Pon. And editor Jack Carrillo Concordia. Alright, now let's talk about this spine and cover. So, love this cover. I love it a lot. I love this really interesting font that they chose, or like typeset that they used for the title. I think it looks really flippin' cool. I think it's like really well built, really smart. Just looks really interesting. I love like the like kind of lattice. Is that what you call it? Kind of like the East Asian like style of walls. I don't know how to pronounce it, but like basically like whenever you enter like a Chinese restaurant, they have like that kind of like motif around windows and stuff like that. Yeah, whatever that's called. I'm so sorry, I don't know what it's called, but I love the character posings on the front. It's great. I love that the spine is red and consistent with the front, and having the characters here on the side is great. And then the back is basically just the front, so a little bit disappointing on that, but I think it still looks pretty cool. Looks pretty nice, and we get a good look at our two main characters. So let's talk about our two main characters. So we have ourselves Alma. So Alma is going to be the guy here, the one in the red. He's loud, he eats a ton. I would say he's more of your stock standard shonen character, just in general. Tends to be like in your face, kind of like just really loud, likes to talk a lot. But I like him a lot. I mean, like he's, you know, shonen tropes exist for a reason, and some of them work in some series and others don't, but I think this one is pretty successful. And yeah, really excited to see where his character goes. We already got some background about his character, so very, very excited to see how his character grows throughout the series. And then we have Tao. So Tao is a tall, quiet woman, appears to be very nonchalant, but she tends to be more in the background, at least in this first volume for the most part. But when she does talk, it's meaningful, it's important. She's kind of like almost like the narrator for this story in a way. I like her a lot. I like her combat skills. She's really cool, and I just like her design a lot. I know people will say that, oh, her design in like the one shot was better, but to be fair, I actually prefer this one more than the one shot. So, but that's more about the art. I'll talk about that later. Going into the story. Story is pretty straightforward, to be fair. So the Gokurakugai Troubleshooter Agency, which is the company that these two run, they basically run a troubleshooting agency within this neighborhood, and they do various tasks. The first task they do, which is in the first couple pages, so it's not really spoilers, is like basically picking up the negatives of this politician who's been doing some dirty things. So that's like the first job they do. But you come to find out that their true troubleshooting is they're trying to figure out what is going on with the disappearances within Gokurakugai, which have been associated with these things called Manga, which is just a really funny name, or disaster beasts. So they've been trying to basically defeat these monsters. Don't really know exactly what they're supposed to be per se. They kind of explained it within the first volume, but I feel like we're going to get more context as to what they actually are as we continue. But yeah, basically they're just super bad, they're super evil, they're eating people, and they're kidnapping others. So yeah, Very, very excited. I like this story, like where it's going already. There's already some pretty action-packed sequences that go on, which I'll talk about during the art section. But yeah, I like how the characters are already set up. I like how I like how quickly we've gotten everything set up. We're not really we're burning on like the overall story, but I feel like we've set up like what the organization is, like what their agency is, like what these characters are doing, what their motivations are. So really enjoy that we got all of that set up, because you don't always get that with a shonen series. Sometimes they like to let it slow burn, which is fine. That's totally okay. But I think this one is a great example of what happens when you can do it correctly, and yeah, how much it benefits the series overall. So really, really excited to keep reading this one as we keep going. Going into the art, the art's awesome. I like it a lot. I think it's just got some really great moments, some really just terrifying moments too. Love the action, like I mentioned. I love the art style. The art style is really flipping cool. Like I mentioned earlier, the character designs are really solid. Just some really great, good mix of kind of just everything. So I love the simple facial expressions. I like the posings and all of the action is super cool. This is a really cool double spread. A little bit hard to see with the lighting, but just really intense just across the board. And even the quiet moments are done really well. The backgrounds look really nice too. So yeah, just really, really like the art. I think it's probably my favorite part of this entire series, even though I've been kind of complimenting everything about it. But it is what it is. So yeah, really good shonen series if you're looking for another cool action shonen series with a little bit of a mystery and some horror elements. Definitely give this a shot. Okay, last but not least, this is the final volume of the video. So first up, January 2021, monthly Big Comic Spirits. That is when the series originally released in that magazine, and officially released in 2024 under the Viz Media signature line. We have ourselves Snowball Earth from Yuhiro Tsuji Sugu. Whew, this is going to be a hard name for me as I talk about it. But let's talk about who worked on this really quick. We have translation from Joe Yamazaki. We have English adaptation from Stan with an exclamation point. Touch-up art and lettering from Chi Wang. Design from Jimmy Pressler. And editor is Mike Montesa. Excuse me, my voice has been giving out for some reason, so if you're wondering if there's a moment where my voice just kind of sounds bleh, that's probably what it is. Anyways, let's talk about this spine and cover. Really cool spine. I like this a lot. I love the color that they used for the blue for both the title and the background title. I think it looks really neat. Gives you some context clue about kind of what's going on. I like the character design here on the front. The spine is fine. It's your typical white with black and blue, so that's kind of neat. And the back is kind of cool. I like it. I guess it's nothing too super interesting, but I like how the characters here who's faded away somewhat. So that's really neat. And just a little random thing. I kind of like how this is purposely clouded out. I was wondering if this was a print issue, but I think this is done on purpose, and I actually really appreciate that it's done on purpose. So this will come into context later as I talk about the story a bit. So let's talk about the characters, aka one character I'm only going to talk about. This is Tetsuo Yabusame. He's the main character of the series. Very quirky, struggles to make friends all the time because he's kind of just been working as a soldier for this company for I think 10 years, I think is what they say. So he really has a hard time trying to communicate with people because he kind of lost his childhood. So he's just a really funny character, but he's really resourceful, he's really smart, and yeah, just really, really like him. I don't know, I think he's really cool. I think he's going to be fun to root for him as we continue throughout the story, and that's what I appreciate about a main character. Going into the story, so Tetsuo, like I mentioned, he's been training his entire life to control a robot named Yukio, which he's not super important yet. I mean, he's really important, but I don't really want to talk about him because he's... Well, you'll see. Anyways, they're about to go on this big mission to stop these aliens from attacking Earth. And as they're beginning this operation, the big head honcho ship gets destroyed, and they think that the mission is going to fail and everything's going to go awry. But the robot decides to sacrifice itself by shooting out Tetsuo and blowing himself up, and saying, "Tetsuo, my last goal for you, my last wish in life is for you to have a happy life and to make friends." So the robot sacrifices itself, and Tetsuo goes into deep sleep for 8 years. Then he wakes up. He you know, we saved the Earth, we did it, we made it, we survived, and as he's leaving his escape pod, he's landed on Earth, and it is completely covered in snow. So the mission failed, and they did not kill all the aliens, so Earth appears to have become desolate and dead. So now Tetsuo has to try to survive and learn and live in this new frozen wasteland and see what the heck is going on and if there's anybody that survives. So it's a pretty interesting post-apocalyptic series. I really like it. I think it's pretty cool. I like the mysteries that they've already set up, and I kind of like where the story is already going at by the end of the first volume. I like how the characters are written and designed, and like just overall very smart. The storytelling is done pretty well across the board. A lot of really intense moments mixed in with these kind of like quiet, almost somber moments as well. So love the backstory that we get for our main character Tetsuo, as well as the robot Yukio. So it's great. I actually really like the story. I know it sounds like I'm kind of just skipping and skimming over it, but honestly it is a pretty cool story. Really do enjoy it. But I am purposely doing that is because I really like the art a lot. The art is really cool. Really interesting robot designs, and this is a really cool double spread. I like how raw the art can becomes like very much like this kind of like intense, scribbly kind of style. You kind of considered sketchy, but I like the ink usage like on the sides here. It looks really cool. The gray like ink wash they're using is really nice. So yeah, this is overall just a really, really well-drawn, well-designed manga. I love the art style. I love the paneling a lot. I think it's just got a lot of really smart moments. Overall, very solid series. Definitely worth a shot if you're looking for something that's a little bit more thought-provoking, but also kind of like fun action. You're gonna have a pretty deep, complex story that's already building up by the first volume, and some really fun characters with some absolutely gorgeous art. Give this a shot. Okay, now here comes the hardest part of the video, is ranking these 4 manga. These are so very different, and to be fair, even thinking about it now, I tend to think about this a little bit beforehand just to kind of make it a little bit easier, but to be completely honest, I am kind of struggling where I'm going to rank these. I think I only know which one my number 1 is, and then I think it's just going to have to be based off of, I don't know. Boy, okay. Well, let's get this out of the way. Bless is number 1. Bless is 100% my favorite manga that I read out of these 4. It is so good. Completely took me by surprise. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that, and I'm so happy that I wasn't expecting it because, yeah, it completely blew me away. Really loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Now, from there, this is where it gets hard because, Okay, this is way harder than I expected. Holy crap. Did I like Snowball Earth more than Gokurakugai? I don't know. Okay, I think I'm gonna put Fable there, Snowball Earth here, and Gokurakugai here. So, honestly, like, it sucks because, like, these are all very good. I would honestly rank all, like, these 3 for sure in, like, upper echelon 8 to, like, 8.75. It really just comes down to, preference, to be completely honest. So, yeah, I think this is going to be my final ranking. Bless, Gokurakugai, Snowball Earth, and the Fable. Yeah, what do you think of this ranking? Have you read any of these manga before? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know how you would rank them if you have read all 4, or are you interested in reading any of these 4 now that I've given you a full review on them? Let me know in the comments below as well. Yeah. Also, let me know what you are reading in the comments below. I always do read them. I promise I read all of my comments, even if I don't comment back. So thank you so much for checking out this FVI. Really appreciate it. You're awesome. You're amazing. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And if you don't do any of that, thanks for watching this entire video all the way through, or skipping to the end. I don't know, whatever you want to do. And thank you to Regs C. Lee for your membership to my channel. You can get these videos a little bit earlier, usually 3 to 4 days before their release time. I release on Sundays for my big videos, so you'll always get those videos a little bit early, at least for the most part. You never know. I might have to change that if something happens, but for now, that is going to be the case. So if you're looking for some good old-fashioned content from me a little bit earlier, you can do that. It doesn't cost too much, and I appreciate it wholeheartedly, but don't need to support if you can't. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for watching this FVI. I will see you in the next one.